Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Hello, and welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And I'm absolutely delighted for our guest today, Rod Smith. He is an entrepreneur. He's a business coach with 3 business degrees, and he's probably most notably known for his 2-time Super Bowl champion, a former Bronco wide receiver, and he's also the author of The Rod Effect, which I have right here in my fancy hands. And I'm excited to jump in and learn more about you, Rod. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I appreciate it. Kind of like we said, it's been months of us trying to get together. So you guys are in for a treat because I was just stuck in Mexico City, had a passport issue, and I was literally chilling though. So that's why you gotta, as business owners, you gotta have your money together in case you get stuck in a foreign country and you don't speak the language. But and I was telling Teri, I just got back last night and I got an alert about our meeting today. I said, well, at least I'll share that. But I'm a business guy, and we've been trying to set this up for months, and I put it on the calendar. And as soon as I got home yesterday, I want to kiss the ground. And I got this alert: hey, you got to meet with Teri tomorrow. I'm like, oh snap! I got to finally get that done.
I mean, what a treat! I'm so glad that you made it back safely. And
yeah, it was good. It was actually a good time though. It was good.
Yeah, and so yes, you are most notably known as being a champion.
Those things right there.
I know those things right there. Everyone can see them on the video here. But we had lunch, gosh, we met maybe back in November, December. And, I just loved, the conversation of business, and we loved hearing, more about you and your history. And if you guys have not read his book, I mean, talk about an overcomer. I mean, truly your story is an inspiration of what you had to overcome at such a young age. And I'm always inspired by folks like yourself who have seen adversity on so many levels and yet transformed it into your success story. And I truly believe that success is a choice, right?
Absolutely.
I 100% believe that success is a choice, and success leaves clues for us, right? And so what I've been inspired by you and your story and your message and your kind of your bigger why is really transforming that into the business world and really serving in a much bigger way, other entrepreneurs really having an impact in their business. So as we dive in here, my first question to you is, what is the biggest mistake or the biggest challenge that you have seen with business owners with their business, either starting a business, growing their business, or exiting their business for the sake of this conversation?
Yeah, let me say this first. You guys are gonna see me look up and down, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because Teri, in her own right, is a successful businesswoman. And here's my first tip for all you guys: never be the smartest person in the room. You guys have heard that before. I'm always taking notes, and Teri's dropping nuggets, and you're gonna see me write them down. I just have to, and so it's not to be off camera or whatever, because this is really unscripted. It's raw. She doesn't edit it up, what I'm saying, and all this and that. We just bring it to you the way it is. But I'm going to take notes because I love what she's saying right now. And I'm just want to start with this, even to get before your question, because you said something. You said you overcome a lot. Guys, we're all overcoming stuff. And I want you to know that there's different levels in your life that you overcome. And I heard it this way a while back. It's like you're on a train track. and it's like the train track of life. And you get off at these different stops. You get off in high school, then you get off in college, then you get married, and then you go into business. See, each one of these is a stop. And see, every time you get off and then you get back on to go down that path, well, you learn something at every stop. And see, each one of those is you overcame something to get back on the train and move forward, just move on with your life. Each one of those sections is an area where you can teach somebody who's coming to that particular stop. And so I learned this from just growing up with nothing, basically being poor, not knowing that we were poor because everybody around us was poor, right? You don't realize you're poor until you actually get to explore a little bit. And the people that were around me, they were just poor in money, but they wasn't poor in love. They wasn't poor in effort. And so what I learned to do was take this effort and like she said, success is a choice. And that doesn't mean it's not going to be easy. I mean, it's going to be easy because you choose. Everybody's going to have their level of difficulty. And for me, it was just one of those things. I made it a must. I must have this. It wasn't I get a chance, the opportunity every day to get up and choose what I do. And I wanted to make sure I was moving toward those things I wanted for myself and my family. That was the thing. You got to wake up excited and grateful and blessed about where you are. And I think sometimes people get upset with where they are and they carry that negative within the rest of the day. It's hard to be prosperous with a negative thought process and that approach. And to go to your question, because we were talking about this off the air, and I actually had jotted a couple of things down that we talked about as far as with business owners. And I was telling you about a company that I'm looking to be a part of, and I'll share a little bit of it, but I won't share the name right now. But it's a business. The guy has a ice cream business. We'll just call it that. And you mentioned, for business owners, some of those challenges that you have as a business owner. This guy has an amazing product, and people think their product is it. It's way more involved in business than just a product. As a matter of fact, Robert Kiyosaki mentored me for years, and still respect him and love him so much because of what he taught me from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I've physically been in the room with him as he taught people from around the world, on a personal level, shared the stage with him. And I learned that the product is the last part of what we call the BI triangle. And, the one thing I tell people where they miss, and I say, well, who's your audience? Who's your customer? See, they got this great product, and then they try to find a customer for the product. They think everybody wants your product. Well, just because you like ice cream doesn't mean this ice cream is going to fit the people that you're advertising it to. Yeah. So you're in business. You could be selling widgets. You could be selling food. You could be selling healthcare services. It doesn't matter what you're selling. You think, well, everybody needs their health, so everybody's going to need this product. That's not true, because that will actually cost you, and what Teri and I were talking about earlier, profitability. Because you're marketing to the masses and you don't need to. You need to get very specific on who is for this particular product. And there's this thing I learned, and I'll just share it real quick and we'll get back more to the interview. Well, what most people do is they make a product, then they spend a whole bunch of marketing that product to the masses, and then they hopefully get some sales. And actually what you should do is the exact opposite. What you do is go find a hot market of people who are already buying some stuff. Then you go ask those people some questions. What is the problem with this one thing that everybody's buying? Even though they're buying, there's still an issue with it. Then go make that product that fixes that problem. Watch how your sales skyrocket with that small niche market of people. And a lot of times in business, because we have great ideas, we think we can just run out there and throw it up on the internet and it's going to sell. And that's not true.
I think that's a great point, because I think so often we create a product. And again, like you said, we don't have the audience to match it, right?
Yeah.
And once we have that audience, it's a game changer, right? Because you're speaking to that audience. And
yeah, it's if you look at how you buy today, look at what you buy today. You look at, well, here's the thing, look at what you see. You see so much stuff, but you don't buy everything you see.
Right.
You get marketed to, guys, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You pick up this freaking phone, ads are coming to your thing, and text messages and different stuff all day long on the back of cards, on billboards, you name it. You walk in the store, all of a sudden they're pushing you their ad. Everything is happening, right? Why do you say yes to some and no to some? Well, it depends on where you are in your framework as far as for that particular product. And so what if you find people who wants exactly what you have and you only market to them? Imagine how much money you would save and how much profit you could have.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. So what do you, as moving into this, not moving into, you've been doing this business coaching now for some time, working with, folks from all different industries, all different
Yep.
services, you know, what would you say, to the listeners today that they could start doing today in their business to help them get one step further ahead?
The first thing I'll do, a questionnaire to my current customers, find out what they like, what they don't like. Most people in business hate to hear what people don't like. Trust me, just because they're your cousin don't mean they like everything you do. I have an iPhone, but there's some stuff about Apple that I can't stand.
Yeah.
That would probably be valuable information to them, because you know what they'll do? They'll create a product to fix that problem I have, and I'll buy it, right? Right. I'm having problems with my AirPods right now. So I'm actually thinking about abandoning the AirPod. If they knew that, they'd be like, no, we need to fix this issue so that more of our customers might have that same issue. But what a lot of people don't do is they don't do, to me, good, I will say, closing the sale. And this is what I mean by closing the sale. They think because they bought, the sale was closed. No, to me, closing the sale is figuring out what they liked and what they don't like about it. Even though they bought it, there may still be some issues, but your company can learn what the next product should be, or how to fix these little, even if it's some special, if it's a tech product or something like that, you can go and tweak it so the next group of customers that come after them don't experience that thing. I was with some business people this week when I was in Mexico. I was there for a week, and it was business. And while I was there, we had a lot of fun, of course. But the guy said something from the stage. He said, you know what? The first iPhone barely had text messages, didn't have FaceTime. You barely could just make a phone call from it. It was basically an iPod. It's basically what it was. It was you could make calls on an iPod. And if you look at this, and I have a 10, I don't have the 12 with all the 700 cameras on the back. You couldn't take pictures. You couldn't do selfies. You couldn't do any of that stuff. But now Apple does tens of billions of dollars with the newer version, but they didn't wait to get in the game. You know what they did? They kept innovating based off of the customer response.
Yeah.
And so, being a global giant that they are, we can all learn from our small businesses. We can still work like Apple. We just work in our ecosystem the same way.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point of like just staying curious, right? Curious about what those needs are. My first company, we really worked on, the biggest referral source was coming to us was physicians. So I just interviewed the physicians over and over and over again. It's like, what do you dislike about working with other folks in this industry? And over and over and over again, I heard one thing, and one common thing is like, people don't return phone calls. So my company, that first company, I got really good at returning the phone calls, and we became super responsive.
Exactly.
And that was that one. And literally, we have three elements that makes us different, but that's the first one. Is we are super responsive. We answer the phones live. We have, if someone leaves a voicemail, we have an hour, response time to get back to them. Like, we just became really responsive, and we've grown that company into a household name just for following, getting curious. What are people having struggles with? What are they, and as soon as you kind of find that pain point, what that challenge is, and you correct the problem, right? It was a total game changer. And it's, that company has become an owner independent company where it runs itself at this point. But, and literally we did not market during the pandemic. So because all of the clinics were shut down, so we couldn't connect with our referral partners. So we have not marketed that company since February of last year. And it has continued to grow and expand.
But it's still growing. But see, that's the thing.
It's still growing, but it was like we created the foundation, right?
Yes.
And because, the foundation was there, it continued to excel and actually expand during a pandemic, So, I mean, I think that's so key, is like getting curious about what it is that we are here, what are we here to serve? How can we be the problem? How can we be the solution to their problem? Right.
Yeah, but you got to know what their problem is. And I think what was so key and kind of the note for me, based off what you were saying, is think about it. You built a business based off of their problem. And that was the thing with that one thing. Like you said, we have 3 key points, but the number one thing is returning. Think about right now, how many of you got a whole bunch of voicemails in your thing right now you haven't returned?
Yeah.
It's like communication is so divided. Some people do the text message, some people do this and that. I personally rather talk to somebody. I told my assistant at one point, I said, listen, just because you send me a text, it doesn't count as communication unless I respond back. If I don't respond back, it doesn't matter if I look at it, it doesn't matter until I respond back. Now it's communication. Now we can move forward. And so a
Yeah.
lot of times, especially in business, people want to really talk to somebody. I hate going through the 45 tips on with a computer every time I call a company. I want somebody to pick up the freaking phone so I can get to the point, because I'm an A-type person. You're an A-type person.
Yeah.
We want results right now. So pick up the phone, let's talk real quick so I can go.
Yeah.
I don't have time to go through your 42 steps. I didn't hang up on step 7 and I'm mad. Now I don't want to work with your company anymore.
Yeah.
If you look at Amazon, and I'll say this about Amazon. Amazon, the reason why they're such a juggernaut, try to return some from Amazon. They make it so easy and convenient. They credit you right now. They don't let you wait. You can go down to Kohl's. You can go to a Whole Foods, somewhere close by. You can drop it off at the thing. It doesn't cost you anything to return it. You get your money back just like that. And that's why they're the juggernaut. But you know who they took that from? They just doing it digitally? Walmart. Walmart used to be the exact same company in a physical form. And you could take anything back to Walmart with or without receipt. They would take it back because Walmart knew they was going to get credit. And that's what created the volume of customers relying on them and counting on them. And that's the same thing in your business. So for you business people, pay attention to what she says. Find out what your customers' problems are and build it into your company where it's a part of your team's culture and no one can deviate from it. Watch your sales increase without you having to market more. It's just a brilliant thing.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so speaking of this, like what's new and what's coming up for you? What's your next? I don't know. What's coming up for you? What do you have? What are you working on these days?
This part of the journey. Remember the train? So, just turned 50 last year. I'll be 51 this year. Been out of the league now for a while. Been out of the league, for about 13 years now. And so, you're in a different stage in life. I'm looking at business different. I'm not looking to be the hired gun. When I was playing, of course, people want you because you're active. Now, as a retired guy, I got my money working for me still, but I'm actually looking at acquiring. I'm looking at the year between 50 and 60. How can I do what it took me from 24 to 30, 38 to do? How can I do that in less time? So how in 5 years can I do what I did in football in business, which is going to be very, very difficult. Trust me. So I'm looking at acquisition of being partners in companies, not a hired gun. I do have some speaking engagement stuff I do for people where they pay me, but I want ownership. And so actually I'm learning some new stuff, some online money stuff, some Forex trading. Our company's launching some stuff with Forex trading. The cryptocurrency space is crazy. So I'm learning that. And these are things I'm learning. I haven't stuck my money in it yet because I measure 4 or 5 times, cut once. So and I've lost money before. So that's why I'm cautious like that. And plus at this point in stage in my life, I don't need to take real big gambles and stuff like that. I don't have to, but I'm definitely looking for growth. And so I'm looking at different parts of that. Moving, I've done real estate before, looking into doubling down on some of my real estate stuff. And like I said, other products and services that I'm going to be launching. And I'm still helping people, coaching people with business stuff. So always busy, always got something going on. But the great thing about it, I get to call the shots. If I don't want to wake up and do anything that day, I don't have to. But I love working with entrepreneurs. Like I said, I love a lot of Teri's story. We've shared some things, and that's what made this possible, because I'm like, okay, here's a lady who started her thing, and it's tough being your own business person, guys. So celebrate yourself for taking that leap of faith, because most people don't have the guts. They rather just go get a job. And so my thing is if we can share and create that ecosystem where people can come get some nuggets and apply them, and they work for them, that's what I like. Because I just wish, I really wish when I was playing, I had more hand holding for me, and it wasn't available.
Yeah. Well, and I think, as you go into these next adventures into your life, I think, I heard you say it's going to be hard, but I think also it can be easy because, you have the systems, you have the structure, you have the knowledge, and now it's just implementing those skills in a different arena or in a different way. And I think, when you have those, proven systems that have allowed you to have success before, it's just reapplying those skills, right? And
exactly.
Yeah. And
you do the same thing, different product. The product is the last piece. And I think, and not to cut you off, but that's what I think sometimes people, they think they got to reinvent something else. I'm like, no, if you got a framework that works for you, you can change the product. Of course, a little bit of this framework is going to be adapted to that product, but it'll work again, and then it'll work again, and it'll work again. So you don't have to have the newest, greatest thing.
Yeah.
You can do the old boring thing and print money pretty much.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, the other thing is, and what I'm hearing you say is that you just don't have all your eggs in one basket. You have multiple things going on, right? And serving in probably different ways to create and continue your wealth and continue your success. But most importantly, continue your impact, right? The impact that you're having, the legacy that you're living. So I have a selfish question here because I've been kind of fascinated with this question, of people that I've been interviewing. It is, what is your why behind what you're doing?
That's a good question. And it goes back to the book. I mean, and the book has it's got 10 chapters, but the middle 8 spells out the word dreaming. And if you understand, each one of those letters is a principle. Desire, responsibility, environment, affirmations, mentorship, integrity, never quit, and gratitude. So that framework goes with me no matter what phase in my life that I'm doing. And the reason the book was created, it was kind of an honor to my mom, but it was really more as I started having grandkids, I'm like, no, it's a framework for my grandkids to not have an excuse. And my why is to be an example. The way I grew up, and it's not just an example for, it started off with for my mom, but then I started having grandkids. Now I have the crazy part is now I have 5 grandkids. I have a granddaughter that I still haven't seen because of COVID. She's 6 months old and I haven't seen her. I got a picture, matter of fact, last night from her mom. Beautiful little girl. And just amazing.
Oh,
but
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I'm going to see him pretty soon.
Okay, good.
I'm not gonna let COVID hold me up too much longer. But anyway, but you gotta, respect this space and all that stuff. But one thing is the why for me as of now, because it can adjust and it can change. You don't have to have some ironclad thing that you just hang on to. But I've always wanted to be an example. I remember growing up there, you would hear athletes, people say, well, this athlete is a role model. And I remember Charles Barkley saying he didn't want to be a role model. I just remember Charles Barkley saying that. And at the same time, I agree with him, but I disagree with him. I said, but you don't have to want to be a role model, but you are. And so for me, I'm like, well, I want to be a role model. And the reason being is because it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't have to be kids. It can be adults that can model you. Remember, modeling means to copy. And if you're getting results, I want the people who grew up in my neighborhood to copy me, but I also want the people who grew up in my neighborhood where I live in now, which is a completely different neighborhood, they can copy me too. So it's not a matter of, where I am, it's where you're going. If you're ascending and you're growing, how many people can you pull with you? That's my why. I want to see more of my friends not living paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to see them struggle. And it's not necessarily about money, but I have to tell you this, guys, money solves some problems that when you don't have money, you can't fix. If I would have got stuck in Mexico City and I was somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck, for one, I would have missed work for 2 days, which, would have crushed me. I had to get a hotel room. I ended up buying 2 different plane tickets. And they don't give you refunds when you buy these last minute plane tickets. So I'm losing money there. I had to get a hotel room twice, those types of things. It was just crazy, right? I probably ended up spending like an extra $2,000 for a trip. I was supposed to have been home 2 days ago. Yeah. But what if I'd had a $2,000? And literally, I'm doing video for my team while I was in this little sanctuary of this hotel. They're like, dude, you look so calm. I said, I built my life a long time ago so that when things change, I can adjust. Yeah. And I live my life. See, I live my life wherever I am. That's what I want everybody to have. That's my why. I mean, like I said, it's a little bit different. It fluctuates, it changes. But the thing is for people to be able to say, if this guy who grew up with nothing in the projects in Arkansas was, considered in the learning clinic in school growing up, graduated from college with 3 degrees. So I went from the reading clinic. I remember this vividly. It really impacted my life. From the reading clinic to graduating college with 3 degrees in business, right? When you're an athlete, they look at you one way. You're a dumb jock. I said, no, I'm a guy who understands how to play a sport, but that's not who I am. I don't want that to define me, but I know see that and it brings people in, but I want you to learn who I am. And so that was the thing that Teri and I struck up real well. She's like, no, this guy's about business. He's not really about sports. I talk about the Broncos and stuff like that. And I appreciate the Broncos, but they don't pay me. You know what I'm saying? That's not how I make my money. So,
and I think that's probably that's probably the key. It would be fascinating to do research on, professional athletes and those that, use it, this comes second versus this comes first, right? And it'd be interesting. That's probably what is singly most sets you apart from the crowd, is that you are focused and driven in this business. And yes, I was good at this too, so I got to play there too. But this was really kind of your maybe a passion of yours, is to have a bigger impact. And I absolutely agree with you. And that's kind of, I've been finding this interesting to ask people's why, because I'm right there with you. With my why is like, I want to have a bigger impact.
Yep.
I didn't.
It's hard to have impact when you don't have money. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That don't mean, Mother Teresa had a huge impact and she didn't physically have money, but she was one of the wealthiest people on the planet. But she had the resources. It's one thing to have money. It's another thing to have resources. Do you have resources? And you can impact more people with resources. And honestly, because this day and age is more all physical, more digital, people can video everything and they can see you, and they can, you can get coaching from somebody you never met through the internet nowadays. So that's an impact in itself, but you can actually spread the message faster and people can see you more if you do get that exposure. And sometimes money brings exposure.
Absolutely. So I think, yes, money makes it, we can create ease, right? Like what you're talking about is you're creating freedom, you're creating time freedom, you're creating financial freedom. And that freedom allows you to serve, show up, do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. And that brings about such freedom. And when you can be in that place and space, the impact just automatically comes, right? So
yep, absolutely. Like I said, you give one of my mottos is I want to do something for people that they can't pay me back for. I want to make such a statement in their life that they can't pay me back. You have to give it. You have to do for me, for somebody else, what I did for you. Like make an impact in their life that's so big that they can't pay you back. You can't hand me a certain amount of money and think I'm gonna be fulfilled for what I did for you. I want you to get these nuggets. I go first. Like I say, lead needs to go first. So a lot of times in my business deal, I put up the money. If we lose, I lost money. My team probably won't lose money, but I lose money. As the business owners, we lose money first. And so the people on your team, in your circle, need to understand that, listen, I put up the risk. You work here, right?
Yeah.
If I didn't have the risk and I didn't put up the risk to work here, you don't have a job. But I need you to appreciate me taking this risk. I'm taking a risk on this business, this industry, and you. But together we can actually make this thing work. And I'm going to reward you as I grow too. It's not about me just sitting there making a ton of money. I'm going to reward the people who helped me get there, but I want to make an impact that they can't pay me back.
Yeah. And that's such a win-win. And I just got chills, full-body chills when you said, I want to do something that people cannot pay me back for. If we all led our lives like that, how juicy would that be? That is incredible.
So much fun because everybody be looking for who they can help. You won't have the vision, you won't have all this craziness going on. Well, let me see how I can impact and help this person out. I do that a lot. And one of the biggest things I saw with my kids, because sometimes we'll be driving down the street and you see people on the side of the road and some people, that guy just wants to buy drugs with the money if you give him money and blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? What's in my heart is God put in my spirit, ain't got nothing to do with him. He put in my spirit, I gave you this extra money, so give this person $20. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'll give a person $100, stand there on the curb, and I won't say anything. They don't know who I am. I'll say, hey, listen, man, be blessed, or be safe out there, blah, blah. And they look at the money like, they freak out. And you know what happened was when my son did that for a friend of his. She was having a hard time, this, and that. He paid $500 to make sure she could stay in this acting class that he was doing with her. She's going to have to drop out. He said, no, I got you for the next few months. I think he paid for like 4 months. He had made some money doing some stuff, and he gave his friend $500 to keep her acting going for another 4 months so she could get back on track. I remember my daughter was saying, oh, Dad, it was so cool what I did today. My daughter doesn't have a lot of money. My daughter has her health challenges with sickle cell and stuff like that. She said, Dad, it was so cool today. And I used to do this with them in the car with me a lot. And she was driving down the street. She saw this lady on the side of the road with her daughter with a sign talking about she needs money. My daughter said, Dad, I gave her everything I had. I said, good. You're coming back to this house, and that's going to be replenished for you. I said, babe, that's the best thing you could do. She said, my daughter was crying because she didn't have more to give her. I said, but you gave her everything you had. I said, that's all God wanted you to do. And so that's the type of stuff that, for me, it makes me feel good because I want my kids mimicking that same moment.
I think this is the best way to wrap up our conversation today is just, gosh, what the message I'm taking from this is just lead with love, right? Lead
Yep,
with love.
absolutely.
And if we all come together and lead with love, I mean, the impact that we have is a ripple effect. And I absolutely agree with you. Let's lead by example. And when we lead by example, just like how we started this conversation is, we can be the best being that we can be for ourselves. But when we lead by example, other people, like I believe we give permission for other people to do it and lead with that same level of, passion and purpose and potency that we can really have a really incredible impact on other people's lives. So with that, Rod, thank you so much
You're
for being
welcome.
with us. I want to honor your time. So grateful for you to being here. Thank you for being the being that you are and the impact that you're having in this world. So incredibly grateful for you sharing the light with others. So before folks wrap up here, where do people find you?
I have to look that up
Oh
because
my goodness.
yeah.
Okay, I think I have your email here, or not your email, but your website. Isn't it The Rod Effect?
Yeah, I mean, for the book, you can get the Rod
Okay.
Effect, the rodeffectbook.com or the rodeffect.com. You can even download the e-version, of it for free if that's something you want.
Well, I'll make this really easy for the listeners. Everything that he gave me is in the show notes. So he gave me the websites. So link to the show notes and you will find him with ease.
Rod Smith 80 on Instagram.
I love it. Okay, check him out on Instagram. Okay, for those folks that are Instagrammers or on the social media outlets. So, Rod, thank you so much for being here, and just it's such an honor. Thank you so much.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.